Hi friends, Miss Atkinson just wanted to get on here and go over your reading lesson for today. Yesterday we learned about cutaways and what to look for in your reading as far as that. And then today we are going to learn about the table of contents. So let's read exactly what that is. The table of contents helps the reader identify key topics in a book in the order they are presented. So, friends, just like we've talked about on our reading, first this happens, then this happens, next this happens, and then our ending of our story is this. So, the table of contents helps us know what page to go to when we are looking for certain information. So, in this example, it says sea otters, and that's what we're learning about. So, if Miss Atkinson doesn't want to read the whole book because she's only looking for one specific page of information, she could look at the table of contents. So, our first sentence here says, "What is a sea otter?" So, I could find out that information on page 2 because it tells me right here in the table of contents. And then the next one is, "What do sea otters look like?" I can find that information on page 5. And then the next one is, "What do sea otters eat?" I could find that information on page 8. Then, "Where do sea otters live?" I could find out that information on page 9. And then baby sea otters, I could find out information about them on page 11. So say Miss Atkinson is wondering if sea otters eat grapes. I wonder where I could find that information. Well, I could look here at the table of contents and I see that it says, "What do sea otters eat?" And that information is on page 8. So if Miss Atkinson wants to know if sea otters eat grapes, she could look on page 8 to help her. All right, friends, let's go ahead and go over to the worksheet for the table of contents and let's see what more learning we can do. So at the top, it says Table of Contents. The table of contents helps the reader identify key topics in a book in the order they are presented. So let's look at our table of contents here. It says Table of Contents, plants. Number 1, seeds is on page 2. Number 2, sprouting on page 5. Number 3, growing on page 8. Number 4, flowering on page 9. And then number 5, the life cycle on page 11. So we're going to read these questions down here at the bottom, and then we are going to see what page would help us find out the answer to these questions and would have the best information for us to look at. So this first one is, on what page does the life cycle chapter begin? Do you see anywhere in our table of contents where it says the life cycle? Miss Atkinson does. Right here. And it tells us that we can find out that information on page 11. So down here, Miss Atkinson would write page 11. Our second question is, how many chapters are in this book? So over here, Miss Atkinson sees the page numbers. Then she sees the titles of the chapters. And then right here, she sees the chapters of this book. I wonder how many chapters there are. There are 5 chapters in this book. So down here, Miss Atkinson would write 5. The next one is, which chapter begins on page 9? So we talked about that the page numbers were over here. I see page 2, page 5, page 8. There's page 9. And the chapter is chapter 4, flowering. So Miss Atkinson down here in the blank would write chapter 4, flowering. Here's our last question. On which page does that 5th chapter begin? So we know the page numbers are over here. Here are the chapter titles. And then here are our chapter numbers. So right down here, we see chapter 5. We know that is the life cycle. And right here, it tells us what page it begins on. So friends, what page number is that? You're right. It starts on page 11. So Miss Atkinson down here at the bottom would write page 11. All right, nice job, friends. You did a great job of filling out this table of contents worksheet. Hopefully it was helpful that Miss Atkinson went over this with you. If I went too fast, please take time to fill out this worksheet on your own. And remember, today while you're reading, I want you to check out the table of contents in the book that you're reading. It's okay if your book does not have a table of contents, but maybe you could find one on Epic that does have one. That way you can get some practice with looking up information on what page it is on, okay? All right, friends, have a great day of reading. Bye.